Hi guys, Julia here from Just One More Card, and today I have another start to finish video for you showing you how I used my Copics to color this adorable digital stamps by Bloobel stamps. And when I saw this image, I had to think of my mom, which I hope she won't be angry at me, but she is such a passionate gardener. She loves her flowers and everything. So I just had to, I just had to color this image for her. These are the colors I'm using for skin tones. They're always the same: E04, E21, E11, E00, and E000. Actually, I'm going from the E04 directly to the E11 and then E21, and then E00 and E000. Now, the coloring process is very similar to my other coloring processes. If you have seen my other Copic coloring videos, you might already be familiar with that. All the coloring skills that I have learned from KIT CLOWDER, the online classes. I can absolutely recommend them to you. I have a very extensive review of the classes. And I'm going to add a link to the KIT CLOWDER website. The classes cost a bit, sure. They're Australian dollars, so make sure you look how much it's actually in your currency, because it will be much less most likely. But I can totally recommend the classes. Like, I took the skin and hair classes, the clothes classes, and while I'm still struggling with the hair, I feel now so much more confident with skin and with clothes. So it's really a pleasure for me to color these images. I would not have dared to do those 2 years ago. Anyhow, I'm gonna let you watch the coloring process, and I'm gonna play some music for you, and then I'm gonna catch you again when I will show you how we're going to do the clothes. Alright, now we're done with the skin, and now we're going to do her dress. You can see that the dress is like a wavy line, and that indicates to me that there are folds. There are parts of the dress that are bunched up and where the light will hit, and then there are parts of the dress which are further back that will be in the shadow. I'm using my lightest color here to map in those shadow areas, so I have something to work with, because, it's better to think about this before you start, I feel. And I'm using a dark orange here. I think this is a YR27. All the supplies and colors will be listed in the video description below or on my blog. And I'm putting in the darkest areas. And then I'm using my lighter tones to blend out both sides. So I'm not just blending on one side, I'm blending both sides. And I'm doing this because I feel that this gives me more natural folds. And of course, you shouldn't forget the rest of the dress as well. And I'm basically working my way from dark to light. And right now I'm going over the darker areas completely with my lighter color to achieve a more natural blend. And I will come back in later with a second layer where I will intensify the colors, and so that's why I'm not worried just yet about the darker colors becoming muted when you go over them with the lighter colors. I'm doing the same thing, blending to both sides with my lighter colors and leaving space for the highlight, which I'm only now covering up with my very lightest color. Now, you can probably, you can see the folds already a little bit, but of course I had to go over them. I just edited this out because it was just too long, and intensified the colors. Now, as you can see, I colored over those flowers, but that's not a problem because I just used a red color to draw in the flowers here. And then I'm using the same colors that I used on the dress on her hat. I didn't want the image to be like overloaded with color, because I knew I also had to color the flowers and everything. So I decided to give her a yellow dress and a yellow hat. I can't really remember the last time my mom wore a dress, so maybe that will inspire her, who knows. So I'm just blending this out from dark towards the lightest. You can see that here. And for the rest of the hat, I'm also going to play some music for you. Now this part I enjoy a lot, to add shading to the eyes. I really like how Lisa from Bloobel Stems colors her own DGs, and it's a great inspiration. I'm using a BG color here, or several BG colors, from dark to light again, to blend out, and I'm making sure not to stretch this too far. I just want to show some roundness of her eyes, and then I'm using my colorless blender to soften that even more, and I'm repeating the same process here on her other eye, putting down the darkest one, going over the darkest one with a lighter one, then blending out with an even lighter blue, and then pushing some of the color back with the colorless blender to create a very smooth effect. On her eyes, I'm using 2 shades of green. Being very careful here, you can see that I'm even leaving some highlights in those pupils to make the eyes look much more dimensional. You can see that here. It's the lightest color, and then I'm coming in with a darker one, and just from the top, just blending it a little bit in there, just a tiny little bit, to make her eyes look very dimensional. I was quite happy how this turned out. Now hair is, as always, a little bit difficult for me. Like, I'm still not comfortable with hair. I'm still working on that entire process. So I'm trying to put down the darkest color first and blending towards the lighter color, and trying to make sure I see strands of hair. I don't want it to be like a blend, like for example I did on the hat, where you just have an area of color that goes from dark to light. I like to have certain strands of hair, but I'm not that good. But I was happy with how it turned out, so that was the finished coloration. To put together the card, I grabbed some pattern paper from Echo Park and added this to the side of my card base. This is one of those cards where the panel that I cut was too small, so I somehow had to work around that. And I decided to add a strip of glitter paper. I did this myself. Just added some glitter on adhesive, put some double-sided adhesive on the back, cut a strip, and then I just had to peel off the backer paper and could easily adhere the strip to the side of my panel here. And this just adds a little bit more contrast towards that pattern paper, which is to me visually pleasing, but of course you don't have to add it if you don't feel comfortable doing that. For the sentiment, I'm using just a very simple sentiment from Paper Smooches. I'm using my Misty to stamp it, because after all the effort I put into this, I really don't want to mess up the sentiment in the last minute. And then I grabbed my Stardust Jelly Roll pen and added some glitter to her eyes, and on the very bottom of the image to the florals on her shoes. Just some tiny little accents to make the image shine a little bit more. And then I broke out my enamel accents, and I'm just adding drops of them to some aspects here of the flowers and then her dress. And when it dries, it will have a little bit of dimension, so it's actually kind of cute. You could also use your white gel pen. So if you don't have enamel accents, just use your white gel pen. That will work just as well. So here's a close-up of her dress with the folds. Here's a close-up of her face with those beautiful glittery eyes. And you can see the hair is a mess, but her hair is a mess. And it's like my mom. Don't tell her I said that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I actually said that. I hope she never watches my videos. And here's a close-up of the pattern paper with that strip of glitter paper I added to the side, just for some additional highlights. And here is the entire card. I hope you got inspired. I have links to the digital stamps and to all the products, of course, in the video description below. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please ask. Leave me a thumbs up. And if you like, subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you again soon. Bye bye.